Hello everyone, it's Ashwin Rao. I hope you're all doing well, and today I am featuring a brand based out of Hungary, a very high regarded hand-welted shoemaker, Vass, spelled V-A-S-S. This particular model is their Old English medallion full-brogued cap toe offered, featured in a gold museum calf leather, and features their beautiful soft square-toed U-last. This is a shoe that was entirely hand-welted and made in Hungary. So this is a used shoe, but one that I worked really hard using pure polish products to bring back its shine and its luster. So the full broguing means that at all the different joints, featuring the facing here, you can see right through here, the side paneling, the heel counter, as well as the vamp and the toe, feature broguing. The medallion is another detail that is featured on some Oxfords and some Derbies, and is an ornamental design typically placed on the cap toe or the front of the shoe's facing here. This is a 5-eyelet Oxford. Oxfords, as you may or may not know, have a closed channel lacing system. The closed channel here means that the facing, as you can see here, where the laces come together, is joined to the vamp without a flap, which is something you would see in a derby shoe. So the first thing I wanted to point you out to is that this is a hand-welted shoe. I believe that the stitching on the outsole is also done by hand, if I'm not mistaken. There's enough variation in that stitching that you can see, for example, in this area here, that I would imagine that that's done by hand. You can see that there's a fairly coarse way of doing the outsole fudging here. It's not the most elegant thing, and because there's a slightly lower stitch density, I would say this is 6 stitches per inch. That is a less technical manner of doing the outsole stitching. So a slight scale back from, say, the 9 or 10 stitches per inch you might see from a brand such as Antonio Macariello, and even higher stitch densities from brands such as Acme Shoemaker, Ichigo Ichi, and others who are pricing themselves a little higher here. You can see, however, that the detail is done very cleanly here. There's a pretty nice level of detail and spacing done to the broguing here. And you can see that the broguing is done very consistently across the different elements of the shoe. A nice thing about this shoe is the last design here. This is a very elegantly done soft square last. So by square last, you can see that this has a slightly squared off toe done with soft edges. So that's what makes it a soft square last. If I turn it on its profile, this shoe does not have any chiseling to that toe. So this is a fairly traditional soft square last without much of a chisel. At least that's how I would describe it. They don't go too far in either direction of roundness, squareness, or pointiness, and it fits a really nice semi-conservative look that I think is a little bit more elegant to my eyes than, say, some of the shoes coming out of England. Here's a side profile of the shoe where you can see a full stack of leather forming this heel block here. So I would call this a squared waist with a beveled edge, which I think is nice. The beveling of the edge has to be done by hand, so it's a little bit more work done. Some of the higher end shoemakers will form a notch here between the heel block and the waist, and in this case, this shoe does not have one on this side. If I go to the other side though, you can see that there's a little bit of work done to separate the edge of this beveled waist to the heel block on this side. And if I show you this other shoe, there is actually a little bit of an offset here, or a notch between the heel block and the waist. A little bit of inconsistency done from shoe to shoe, from side to side. As you can see, here we have a very traditional joint between the waist and the heel block. So some variation there. Overall, a nice sole which has a closed channel, meaning that the stitches are recessed under the leather here, which is pulled out and then folded back once the stitching is done with the hand-stitched outsoles. You see several pairs of 3 nails done here, 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 and then a very unique heel on the rubber back heel stay right there. If I show you the heel counter here, many shoes at the lower price point will have a stitch here, a seam in the back that allows for easier lasting of this leather. Vass has done a really nice job of constructing the heel counter here and creating a clean profile to the back heel. This gold museum calf is really beautiful and shines up incredibly well. But as you can see, a little less detailing done on the sole other than the nail work done on the heel block. So a little compromise there, and as I mentioned, some compromises done along the edges here, although this nice beveled waist is a nice work done by hand. So all in all, I'm very pleased to own this pair of Vache Old English Medallion Gold Museum Calf Cap Toe Oxfords with full broguing. Vache is a very unique and beautiful option for you should you decide to choose going into the hand-welted higher end segment of men's footwear. I hope you're all doing well. You have a good day, and I will catch you at the next video.